All right.
So
the difference is we start.
Oh, sweet.
Are we live? Or?
Yeah, yeah, sweet.
So we have Calum Von Moger in the house, Mr. Universe.
Yep, Mr. Universe.
Mr. What did you win if you won your pro card in the IFBB?
IFBB, I won the NPC Universe in South Carolina.
They moved it that year. Yeah, that's right.
With your hugeness, Eric DeLue.
So yes. Well, listen, man, we've been anticipating you coming on the show, and we appreciate you coming down to Vegas. You surprised me because you're like, hey, man, I'm going to come down, and it just worked out that you're here. So it's good to have you in the house. Yeah,
and thanks for Bucked Up too for putting it together as well, because I think they said, Jeff rang up. I think he goes, hey, would you want to be? Because they just met with you, I think.
Yeah.
Before.
They came down. They came to the podcast.
They did the cast, and
they're here right now. Looking up.
Now they sponsor our podcast. So big shout out to Bucked Up Energy and
thanks guys. But thanks for having me on board. I haven't done many podcasts, so this is quite a big deal, man.
Outside of your own, right?
Yeah, I like how he did that. You see that flex he did right there.
Well, you know what what I've noticed is the transition the last couple months since we spent some time last fall. You're being seen to be back at it. So I just asked you a big question. You know, what's on the horizon in the future? And you said, man, I'm just training, right?
Yeah. We saw it. So that was like at the Young LA shoot. Was it like October last year?
October, yeah. Which
wasn't that long ago, about 6 months. And my mindset back then was so much different. And looking back now, I remember that conversation I had with you. I was in a different world, I wasn't... I'd lost that. I still didn't have my spark back, and I think it wasn't until really in January that I got back into training again, into the gym,
getting more consistent.
Yeah, consistent, and then I started eating it. So bulked up. I was looking pretty.
I said, how much weight? How much weight have you put on?
30 pounds. About 30 pounds.
Right? Yeah, now look at him.
Yeah. Everywhere we go now, the comments are, man, Cal's getting so much bigger now. And I know all the media is asking about, is there going to be a competitive comeback? And is it too early to tell on something like that? Or is that something that's maybe in the back of your mind? Because, listen, this is how it all started for you. And I want to go back a little bit with that because, I first heard about you when you came over to the U.S. Do you remember what year that was?
I think that was the end of 2013.
And I retired in 13.
Yeah.
That was my last year. And I remember I got to meet you outside Gold's Gym, and we sat right there by where they parked the motorcycles, and we had a discussion.
Yeah.
And I finally caught up to you, and I heard all these great things about the potential. And you were Mr. Universe, I believe, at the time already.
I'd won the junior and I hadn't even won the amateur. I just had the Puniverse title, the Junior Universe title. And that was...
Did you say Puniverse?
Yeah, Puniverse.
Universe.
He said junior, but... Because he was only 21
years old when I won that. Yeah, and then I met you when I was 23. And I remember meeting you, and I was like... Just my head was just... I was what the fuck? That's Jay Cutler.
I'm surprised you never got to meet me when I went to Australia those times, because that's where you.
I was kind of a bit more. I wasn't really in the cities that much. I was a little bit disconnected.
Seems like you grew up in a place like where I grew up, so I want you to talk a little bit about that. Yeah. Where are you from?
Well, from Anglesey, Victoria.
Okay,
which is about an hour and a half southwest from Melbourne. But I was born out in the country, out in the sticks, a little town called Elphinstone, which had like 413 people. Tiny little town. There was a post office and there was a pub. And I used to run away. When I used to run away from home, I'd go to the post office, get some lollies, some candies, and then I used to go on little adventures. And I remember one time my parents found me sleeping outside the pub gate or something, So grew up very sheltered, very, very
farm.
simple.
Like
farm,
you had animals, right? What'd you have for animals on you?
We had like a little hobby farm. Nothing as
I had the same,
fantastic.
No, I had my brother still raises cows, but we had the same chickens, pigs, cows, horses.
Horses, we had a little hobby farm, so we just had like chickens, ducks, geese. We had like a pony, called Fatty. We had a goat called Max, and you know, other bits and pieces. So just a very small 1.5 acres, like good for kids. You know, we'd go and collect the eggs when we were kids, make cakes. And
so you're pretty active then.
Super active as a kid. Yeah, always out in the garden. We didn't really watch TV or anything growing up, so we were always just out, like, you know, with my older brothers, wrestling, making jumps, you know, being kids, getting dirty, chasing chickens.
How many brothers?
6. There's 5. There was 5 brothers and 1 sister. So I've got 4 brothers. Yeah. So
So you were a wild one then.
Yeah, I was just trying to keep up with those. Crazy.
Were you doing sports? Because it doesn't sound like there's I
did. So I grew up. I played soccer. Started with soccer from when I was 5 years old to about. I finished up when I was about 16, with little breaks here and there, soccer, and then it went to football, which is not the NFL you have here. It's Australian rules football. So I just played club footy, and then rugby. And I was actually really good with my rugby and soccer. I think I got into the state team with rugby.
Free plug.
And then sorry, got to get some energies. No, I won this. I got into the state team with rugby, so I was really good. And then I got into the gym, kind of with the training with the rugby. Fell in love with the gym. Started working out, and then.
What kind of gym would you have though, with that small of a community?
Where I started, there was it was just a little warehouse. It was like a little like no bigger than your warehouse here, where all your stuff is.
2,000 feet.
Yeah, that size, and it's all club footy weights. Mm-hmm. So, and me and my brother would run down to Turtle's house, steal a key from his mailbox, come back. Oh, was it Turtle or was it other grumpy guy next door? No, I can't remember. Anyway, steal his key, run back, and unlock it. Otherwise, if there wasn't a key, we would fucking rip the roll.
So, who was first to get into it though? If your brothers?
Well, you had to be a membership of the footy club.
I know, but like, who else worked out in the family?
My older brother got me into it. Yeah,
and how much older is?
2 years older.
Okay.
Yeah, Alex, he's 2 years older, and he got me into weights because he was like kind of like, you know, he's stocky, he's strong, he's boxing, he's fighting. He was like the guy in the school. Everyone was kind of a bit like don't mess with him. Yeah, he's a bit of a weapon. He ended up being, you know, special forces in the military, so lived up to his name and reputation. Anyway, but yeah, he was like he had like good muscles. Everyone was like, shit, he's jacked, he's ripped, his genetics. His last name was he looking so good. So he got into the weights, and then he got me into the weights. And I was like, I didn't have a clue anything about gym or anything. He's like, hey, come to the gym and work out. What are we doing working out? What's this for? And he's like, this is how you grow pecs and biceps and stuff. So I was like, yep, sweet. You know, get stronger. So yeah, I just loved it. I don't know, it was the first time I picked up a weight and loved it. So he got me into it. And then, after that.
Did you see anything in bodybuilding, like a magazine or... Because this is like early social media time, like Instagram was around 11, 12.
Right, so I probably started weights about 2005, probably 15, or 2004, would have been 14, 15. And it wasn't about 2017 that I picked up my first muscle magazine. One I think had Arnold. And that's where I first saw you ever in my life. I was 17 years old. It was a muscle and fitness magazine.
Yeah.
I was flicking through the pages. I bought it at the train station on the way to work. Bought it at the train station. I was like, oh shit, there's a program in here. And I seen you like in the fucking kitchen with like steak or something, doing a steak recipe or something. This like hectic, like blonde bomber haircut, just like undercut, fucking massive. I was like, oh my gosh. You're the biggest person I've ever seen. There's Arnold and stuff. Yeah, I love those classic physiques. But then there was like, well, these are the top dogs. The big dogs. So I was 17 years old when I seen that.
You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking of the movie Crocodile Dundee right now, and he's in this small little spot where there's no one around, and he's running down to find this little shack that's got weights in it. It just seems like
it was like that. We were just little bush rats.
How do you feel people compare you to Arnold? Like they thought you were like, they always say there's a comparison.
Well, yeah, because I looked up I had
everyone looked up to Arnold, man. You know,
who hasn't? Whenever they've associated the weights with, you know, with gym and everything with Arnold. So I looked up to Arnold, and they coined me like Arnold 2.0. They started doing that when I don't know, I must have been probably 20, and I had like grown my hair out, and I was looking kind of like, you know, Arnie, Terminator, whatever. I just get these nicknames, looking a little bit like this fucking weird brown haircut, you know, going on. And yeah, so that kind of thing. And then I made a the way that I kind of found my way into the fitness industry was through YouTube video that went viral. It was kind of there. That at first got kind of showcased, and everyone was like, "Oh, Arnold 2.0, Arnold 2.0." So,
What would you remember when shooting that? Like where you shot it? And
yeah, back in Australia, there was a YouTube clip called Mad Desire. This me and a friend put it together. I was 23.
and was this on your channel at the time?
No, it's on. I think it was Simply Shredded.
Okay, so you didn't even have a YouTube channel
I didn't
yet.
have YouTube channel or social media. Yeah, I had a Facebook, and then after that, the guy who create Miguel Valenzuela, he created the video, and he's like, "Cal, you're gonna make some social media. You've got to, make an Instagram and a Gmail and stuff because you're gonna get a lot of, attention from this going on the internet." I was like,
You didn't think anything of it, right?
I didn't know what was going on. I was like,
So that wasn't your goal necessarily. Did you think because listen, when I started training, I started seeing all the guys and I made a commitment at 18. I was like, I'm going to train to be a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Right. And I joined the gym and I started watching the guys because we didn't really have anything but books then to follow. So I'd have to make those workout routines come alive. Of course, Encyclopedia Bodybuilding and whatever that the old one was around, but I had Flex and Muscle and Fitness magazines, and then of course Muscle Mag came about. So you had limited resources, right?
Yeah.
So, and especially if you're in a super hidden place, who's teaching you how to work out? How are you making yourself better without people to motivate you other than the older brothers?
Educate you, yeah.
But did you what motivated you? Was it?
Well, yeah.
Was it the progress that motivated you? Were you an easy gainer, or were you someone that
hard gainer?
Really?
It was hard for me to really.
Were you eating though?
I mean, yeah, I was. I had a ravenous appetite when I was, my teenage years, active and stuff. But I just had this really kind of freaky body that just burnt everything off. I could eat so much.
Well, I feel like you still carry a lot of leanness to your physique, no matter what.
So I would literally look at food as just fuel. I'd be eating chips and all. And I will be honest, for the first 16 years of my life, I had the most strictest diet ever. My parents, my mum, she was so strict with my diet. Growing up on a farm, I didn't even have McDonald's burger till I was 16. I never had fast food till I was 16. We never had access, or even we lived out in the sticks. We didn't have much. So I grew up on vegetables, everything homegrown, all vegetables in the lunch boxes, super clean. So I don't know if that had an impact of making me having really good operating, system, but. Yeah, I'd eat food, and I couldn't really. It was hard for me to put on weight. It wasn't until, I felt like I'd hit my. I probably could have gone a bit more, but I took all my my natural training years up to about 20 or 21 or something, and that's I'm gonna jump on a little cycle and try and get into the next the next level of bodybuilding. So, but my motivation and where I got a lot of my motivation would have been from my brothers at the start. Then it was magazines, and there was no social media. I didn't look at any social media for motivation. So it was just cutting out magazine pictures, shit like that. Brothers, and then the competitive, alpha spirit would be coming from the boys that I was associated with playing football, surf club, and all that sort of stuff. So that gave me the competitive edge. And then I'd say, by the time I got to 17, 18, I got introduced into doing a potential bodybuilding competition. And
where was that?
In Melbourne, Victoria. The A&Bs, the Australian Natural Bodybuilding Association. And hey, you want to do a competition? Yada, yada, yada. I did the teenage, won it. And then I did the Opens and came probably second, I think, as a junior against it, which had a lot of potential. So that was okay, great. I've got a bit of a gift on this. So I did the first show, Natty, and did really well. And then and then I got scouted to go into the I didn't know about IFBB yet until probably I was, probably 20 or something. And it was either NABA or IFBB. And I had friends doing the WFF in my hometown. So I kind of associated with them. And we went and we got into doing the Mr. Universe, the WFF Universe circuit and I did the junior, the junior, and then after the junior, I was like, I had a mentor, Blair Loveday. So we were living in Melbourne. The junior universe was in Austria. So I went over there. I was 20 years old. Won my junior universe.
Is it junior? Is that like a height, or is it like a?
Oh, so is someone?
Or is it a weight class? You know, because we had like weight classes. It's how do they?
So the pre-judging. So they'd have like 2 days, right?
Yeah.
They have like day one. Oh, so the competition was on the Saturday. They do a pre-judging on Friday, but really old school, different. So they didn't have height or weight. They classed you in body shape classes. So they'd have men's extreme body, which is be the open, heavy, massive. Men's super body, men's heavyweight. Then there's men's fitness, and then there's men's performance. So there'd be like 5 different categories like that. Okay. On the Friday, everyone goes to pre-judging. 10 or not 10, doesn't matter. You go to pre-judging. They put you all up on a stage.
And they choose what you're going to be?
And they class you.
Okay.
And they figure out, all right, we're going to put it, they're going to do it this way. So for pre-judging, I just went looking like a sloppy sack of potatoes, no tan, white, trying to look real small and crappy and shitty. And they'd put you down in a, super body, junior body, they'd go class down. So I wouldn't have, I kind of like fished for a smaller class. Blitz it, So I got put in a smaller one, and then they're like, oh, damn. Just wipe the floor, just
clean house, huh?
Yeah. When I put the tan on and pulled up, so that was fun because there's a bit of a shock. But mind you, there was one guy who did it. He was in the smallest class, and he ended up getting in the very top class. But he was so short, he came second against the tall guys because
this was in Austria.
This was in Austria, yeah.
I can see it's simple as it might seem, but tall because you're taller than the average bodybuilder.
Yeah,
taller, accent. Did your major show in Austria? I can see where the Arnold correlations slowly fit together.
Yeah,
one after another.
Yeah. It all kind of
But so, what was your mindset though? Once you did that contest, did you think, "Hey, I have a future in this," or was a dream to go to America?
Absolutely, yep, absolutely. So I finished that show, and I was on cloud 9. Felt like I made the local newspaper. My township was seeing what was going on. Oh, Cal's Mr. Universe. And so that was like an amazing feeling. And it was motivating. And I was like, I want to be Mr. Universe, And, that's when I started finding out there's different
organizations.
Okay. IFBB, I was like, oh my gosh, scary. IFBB, they're huge.
Yeah.
That's a different realm to me. And obviously I'm thinking, do I want to get to that level? What does it take? All that A, B, and C. So I was like, I'm just going to stick with this circuit right now. I'm enjoying it, travel. So I made that choice then and there. I'm going to do I want to be like a Mr. Universe champion, right? And I had a mentor. His name's Blair Loveday. He's a good bloke. Anyway, he's about 20 years older than me, so he'd be about your age.
Yeah.
And he was like, he asked me the same question. Carl, you going to do this again? You want to compete? I was like, yeah. I said, of course, I can't wait. He's like, well, how old are you? I'm like 21, turning 20, or I'll be 22 next year or something. And he's like, well, you're gonna have to do the open age,
men's,
because you're not junior anymore.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're taking it. I was like, no. He's like, well, you're gonna probably have to, jump on some juice if you want to even consider placing top 5. You're gonna be against big guys. I was like, screw it.
That's when you made the decision.
I was like, I got to do this, but I knew it was like my mum and dad would have kicked me out. Like that was anti, no steroids at all, right? And I was like, so I had to keep it a secret from them. But I was like, no, this is what I want. So we'd go back through Thailand, and Blair was like, yeah, I'll show you. Took me to Thailand. He was like, I'll take you to the chemists and the pharmacies, and this is what you want to start with, A, B, C, D. I was like, great, let's go. Fucking smuggled in like little mosquito fucking things. Got it through the fucking
How cheap
lines.
is it in Thailand?
Oh my gosh!
Why are you asking me?
Man. It's like $30.
It's cheap.
It's so cheap. So I was like, great. This is.
It's like going to Walmart.
Yeah.
It is. It's just it's over the counter, Yeah. So he did his preps in Thailand. He'd go prep there for 8 weeks before the universe. So cheap. You can live like a king for like
super cheap.
$200 a week,
a month,
a month, So he knew all the ropes. He showed me around. Awesome, great person. Like, he's a fun and a very helpful person to help me in my first steps into bodybuilding, you know, into serious bodybuilding. So, you know, that was it. So I decided to train, take it real serious, go, you know, and I was asking questions, and then I do the next. Then I joined. You know what? I decided to join the army for a stint.
Really?
So yeah, mate. There was a hiatus. So 2013. Yeah, so 2012. 2011 I won the junior. 2012 I actually applied for. I had run out of money, had nothing. You know, and my two older brothers had gone into special
service.
forces.
Yeah.
My mum was like, you know, pushing me like, "Hey, Callum, you can't do bodybuilding. It's not going to sustain you. It's not a real job. It's not a real career. You've got to. Why don't you consider joining the army like your older brothers?" And I was like, "Well, you know, I'll think about it." My brother came back from his first tour, and I saw this like little mirage, this clip of the things, and this like cool little edit, but like some crazy stuff that they do over there in Iraq and stuff. And I was really motivated. You see all the fucking, you know, the helicopters and all this crazy. And I saw that and I was like, wow, that's a real exciting place. And anyway, so I joined the army and thought I would just not do the bodybuilding thing. I was like, I'll give this a go and I'll come back to bodybuilding later. I'll do 4 years and then I'll come and be a champion Mr. Universe. So joined the army, only lasted...
How long?
7 weeks. No, 3 weeks. It was 21 days.
What?
Yeah,
Explain this. How does it last 3 weeks?
I think it was like 3 or 4 weeks. I was in there for about 2, and it was so. I mean, look.
Did you wake up and just say, I don't belong here? Or
What am I doing?
Yeah.
do you remember the moment?
Oh, 100%, mate.
Like, what'd you wake up and say? How do I get out of here?
No, yeah, this is. Oh my gosh! So
It's going to get you in trouble if we not say this.
No, it's all good.
It's too late now.
Yeah. Come on, let me be. I just want to be Mr. Universe. No. So I joined the army. You know, okay, I'm going to join the special forces. Go right in there. Went to BNT, and it's like, you know, they take you get your fine for 5 minutes a week from 12 to 12 or 5 p.m. 2 weeks had passed. It was going all right. I was doing really good. Yada yada yada. And then you know, it started getting a bit more like intense. And I remember just standing in the freaking hallway, like to attention, you know. And the drill sergeant, I got charged with insubordination or something. The drill sergeant came out and just grilled me, like started like just screaming at me. I can't remember what I'd done. Probably something stupid, like sneeze or farted, who knows, whatever.
Yeah.
And anyway, he's just grilling me, and I was just looking at him straight in the eyes. Like, you meant to look like kind of straight ahead, and I was like kind of eyeballing him.
Yeah.
And he started, "You're eyeballing me, yada yada." And I just remember him just screaming at me, going, "What the fuck am I doing here? I'm getting screamed by this bozo. Well, I should be like, I want to be Mr. Universe. Like, this is not what I want." And I was like, "Am I really going to do 4 years here?" Because you sign when you join it, you're signed to them. They own you basically for 4 years.
Yeah.
The only way you can get out is if you have proof of a high-paying job offer. There's a death or an illness in the family, or injury to yourself, or dishonorably, right? I was like, well, don't want to dishonor my family, don't want to hurt myself to get out of here, or, you know, this injury. I got to have a job offer. I was like, fuck, well, I haven't got anything right now on the cards. So I fucking got on the phone to my buddy, and he was looking at the options I was. Join the mines, do carpentry, do the gas mines up in the territory. And I was like, fuck. I got my phone, Jimmy. He's up in the gas mines. I was like, fuck, mate, you got to get me a job offer. You got to get me. I need a job offer pronto from your manager right now to say you've got me a job
mines.
up in the closing the gas up in the territory. We've got a lot of, you know, ore minings and everything in Australia. They do a lot of mining. I was like, and he's on a close down where they shut the thing up. I was like, mate, get me a job offer. I've got to get to the mines. This is a shithole. Get me out of here. No worries. Ding ding ding. Yeah, and he pulled through.
He got you a high offer job.
He got me a signature. I don't know how he got it. I don't know if it was a fake or fraud to this day. It doesn't matter. It got me out of that situation.
So shout out to Jimmy.
Yeah, shout out to
question
Jimmy
is,
McDonald. Thanks, mate.
Did you hit him afterwards and say, hey, man, is that job real? Can I go make this money?
No, I didn't want to go to the gas mines either. Gosh, no. That's hard yakka. But yeah, so I ended up getting a job at, fuck, man.
Where?
I went round, I fucking put on like a nice shirt and tie and shit, and went round Geelong handing out resumes like, shit, okay, what's my what's my thing? Landscaper, one time Mr. Puniverse, and drop out from the military. What have I got? I just had to milk it, whatever. Had a year 12 fucking degree, whatever. Anyway, so I ended up getting a job at GNC.
Okay.
They have GNC in Oz, and there's
It's a high-paying job.
Yeah, it was all right. I think I was on like $18 an hour or something, plus commissions. Probably never got them.
Did you know a lot about products? Or not really?
I knew protein was good.
You knew Thailand products.
Creatine.
But you looked the part, I'm sure,
honestly,
right?
I did. No, I had a really good understanding of like protein, creatine, all that sort of stuff. BCAAs, pre-workouts. Wasn't as well versed on like, the vitamins and minerals and all those other, all those other.
Was only
supplements.
powdered supplements though were allowed then, or were there capsules allowed?
For
Remember?
No, like vitamins.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was capsules.
Okay.
And stuff. Yeah, capsules. Yeah, capsules and tablets.
Yeah.
They had all that stuff. So I didn't know a heck of a lot, but I got the job by saying I did know a heck of a lot and pretended like I knew a heck of a lot.
And how long did you last there?
How long did I last there? No, I was there for
22
about,
days.
Yeah,
No, I'm just
22
kidding.
days. No, I beat it. I was there from 2022.
12.
About a year or 12 months, I reckon, because that's where I met this fellow, Miguel Valenzuela. He was coming in selling his brand, met me working at GNC. We had a good conversation. He's like, hey, I'm a videographer, yada, yada, yada. And he got me
The reel.
And from that video, that's how I got my entry over to
People
USA.
saw you.
Yeah, they saw me, and then I got approached by like Irvin Gelb.
Yeah. So he helped you get over?
He helped me get over here.
You said you got to come to California
he
to
played
be
a big
seen.
role too. Absolutely. Yeah, he was schooling me a lot. He knew of you and a lot of people in the industry. So he schooled me up really quickly on, what's going on outside my shell.
So he said, come to the California, I'll do photo shoots and you can meet some.
I had this company approach me. The very first supplement company was called Gamma Labs. Have you heard of them?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Gamma Labs, New York. So I actually had a meeting with them.
It was Gamma O or something. Yeah.
Something like that, right? Had a meeting with them. And then Irv put me in touch with some friends at New York. And then after Gamma Labs, I think it was down to Florida, Miami. I did photo shoots with like some of Irvin Gelb's friends. And then after that, what did we do after that?
Because there were still magazines at this point.
Yeah. I did.
So you were doing print.
This guy, some of them,
Muscle Maker.
Purpinel.
Yeah,
and all these
Purpinel, yeah.
guys, they would have shot you for sure.
Yeah.
I was getting gigs like that with Irv Gelb, who's helped me out. And so he basically helped me get out here. I did a WWE.
Oh, tryout?
Yeah, tryout.
You did, huh?
Yeah.
Where'd you do that?
That's where I met Karina. Karina. We did that in Orlando.
Okay, that's
and
really
that was
yeah.
that was another point for me. Decision time. Okay, do I want to be a WWE wrestler, or do I want to shoot bodybuilding? And it was bodybuilding again. Yeah. So
they called me in '98 too to try out,
For sure, yeah.
But obviously I'm not shorter, but they were looking for some talent, and I was on a. It was like I was just starting to get into bodybuilding and do well. I was already a pro.
Yeah.
And it was like, hey, do I go that route or do I bodybuild? And I was like already starting to get traction. I'm like, I'm already getting paid from bodybuilding. They wanted me to pay to go to school. It was like $5,000. Yeah. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to stay with what I did. And thank goodness I did, because I obviously had a great career, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So how did you do in the tryout?
Oh, good. I actually got offered to
Really?
come back. Yeah, me and Karina got.
So she actually tried out also?
Yeah, we tried out there too. Yeah, we tried.
So that's where you met her.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And we both got the offer to come back, and then we both decided not against it. I went back to Australia. And then about a year later, we ended up in LA by coincidence.
Yeah.
And then bumped into each other.
So I met you then on the first trip. So I met you
on the very first time.
Yeah. And I know we sat and I said, you know what? You have a great look. You're 6'3" or more, right? How tall are you?
6'2".
Okay.
Yeah.
And I said, I was looking at it like, hey, I want to be a pro bodybuilder. And I'm like, man, you're pretty tall for like a IFBB professional, because obviously the ideal height is still like
5'9", 5'10".
Yeah.
So what's your height?
I'm 5'9", and Phil Heath was 5'9". Ronnie Coleman was 5'11".
Yeah, really.
We haven't
five
really
nines
had
are
any
pretty-
really besides Arnold. He was more
Arnold's
the
probably the
taller.
only one over
Really?
60.
So now, of course, we can talk about
yeah.
classic, and I know we'll talk about that after. But so I was looking at you and being like, you're a handsome guy. You know, you have this look that I know with me because I became a cover guy like when I was 22 years old and Muscle and Fitness and all that. So I knew where that direction could go. But we were in the early stages of social media, which you became.
What was it? What year was that?
After-
Around 2000?
I mean, when it started to really take off, like 14, 15. I think Dana was kind of the first female, Dana Lynn Bailey.
I want to know what was
13 was Dana when she really exploded.
when you were first going to the gym, like you know, for when you were just like, hey, there would have been no phones, probably no radio. Like, how was it versus today for you? Like,
You know what, man? Like,
because these kids today, they don't know probably what they're missing.
I know,
out
but
on.
you know, there was less distractions. I mean, think about, I don't know how you are, but like when I'm in downtime, I mean, I'll even, you know, like when you go to the bathroom, do you sit on your phone and look at the phone, or what do we do to really
disconnect for a
Yes,
second. turn
and
off.
you're just kind of blazing through social media. Like we have talk about all these channels that
Doom
we're on,
scrolling,
right?
plugged into
You know,
that.
and hey, you're looking at how many comments you got on something, or hey, I need to respond to this person. Like I think about a day of what I need to do. But back then, no one had phones. There was no cell phones, right? It was just kind of the early stages of cell phones when I got my pro card. But
No
I love the
smartphones.
gym. You know, I was at a crossroad at 18, and my brothers had a concrete business, and my dad really wanted me to go into that concrete.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to college, and I honestly went to college to kind of escape from that.
Yeah.
So I pursued a degree in criminal justice. So I started right out of high school, and that's when I actually joined the gym.
Yeah.
And I would train it from 8 to 10 at night. I worked a security job. I worked 40 hours a week. I made $150 a week was my paycheck, okay? So it was no
150?
money, yes.
What the heck?
But I didn't care because that 8 to 10 at night was my escape. And when I got in the gym and started training, I remember my girlfriend at the time, I said, listen, if you want to see me, you're going to have to join the gym. And I would close the gym at 10 o'clock. They would, the gym would close, it shut down. But during that time, I didn't think about all these stresses that I had. And that's what I loved about the weights. And to this day, honestly, I just said to you when we were having a conversation, all I want to do is work out because it's my escape, right? There's no stress when I get in the weights. So there was no distractions. The only distractions you had was someone coming up to you, but no one really knew me then, and I wasn't.
Probably was different back then. Probably people weren't as in your
They
face.
didn't give it.
back
They
then.
didn't care because I wasn't who I am.
Yeah.
So I wasn't the biggest guy,
So
but
you had
within
the-
6 months, I was the biggest guy in the gym.
Yeah, your focus would have been laser, just on
And
you were so
even
connected to
even when I started training, you can ask. People would come to Vegas and train with me. I said, "Listen, no cell phones.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to spot you, and I'm not going to change your weights, but you can train with me." So I wasn't a very inviting training
At
partner.
least they knew you had your boundaries set, so they're not going to creep infringe in your space and in your time.
Because
and
I
you
don't
got
need anyone, Cal.
That's awesome.
I love to train. I found a way to train with weights. I didn't need a spotter every set. Don't you agree? Like, you don't need to push to the fact where, hey, I need a spot every set because I'm going to do weight that I'm going to struggle with and fail.
Yeah, if you're a bodybuilder, you shouldn't be lifting weights that you can't
It's more about
control in the beginning.
repetitions,
Yeah,
right?
Time and attention, force, control, contraction, and that.
Like,
and
is there a
connection.
set goal on, like, how many reps you get on, like, a set of bench press or squat? Like, what would you say your average number is?
Oh, average number, I try and keep it around. I like around 10, 9, 10.
Okay. And I have this 12 reps thing, right? So I say
12.
8 to 12. It's a broad range.
Yeah.
But as we were trained, that's what we were taught, right?
Yeah.
Your mentors probably said, hey, do this more than 4 times, do it more, try to do more than 8,
That's what
right?
They give you the guidelines, right?
Yes.
And then obviously after time, you realize, hey, if I'm just going to follow the guidelines, this number and this set and this, rep and this weight, if I'm going to just follow the lines, that's all I'm ever going to amount to. So you got to start exploring beyond the guidelines and into the realm of like, okay, what does this muscle need to get the maximum?
To get the
growth?
filthy pump,
The
you
filthy
call it, right?
Pump, mate. Exactly. How
Filthy
do we
pump.
get the
Put that on
Tell
a
me-
t-shirt.
Tell me what a
Yeah.
filthy pump is.
A filthy pump is just so dirty that you need to go home and take 2 showers. It's so filthy. It is just the most
You-
sweatiest.
You taught me
thickest,
what the filthy
shiniest-
pump is, from your
filthiest
videos.
Yeah,
Yes,
I did.
yes,
Yeah. Filthy, mate. You got to dust it off. Right? Yeah, it's just utter filth. We love it. Yeah, we love filthy.
Telling you,
pumps.
need to put that on a T-shirt. Filthy
I
pump.
think he did. I think
there.
he did,
Yeah,
right?
If you haven't, do it again.
Yeah, done.
Huh? He's done that before, right?
T-shirt.
Filthy Pump.
No,
I've seen it before.
Filthy
So,
Pump and an autograph on the back.
Yeah,
The Callum collection. Filthy
Calum
Pump.
collection. Yeah.
so what did you think of Gold's Venice when you first walked in there and you saw all those pictures?
Oh, my
Do you remember
goodness.
what was the mindset when you walked through those doors and the breeze is
I imagine that'd be like walking down the aisle of getting married. It's that beautiful, but there's no wife. There's just weights.
Do you remember when you first walked in that front door at Gold's?
I do, mate. I do, and it's honestly that energy, and you know it. You walk in there, and you're just like you can feel just development, growth. You can strain, tidal, sweat. You can feel it all. It's
You had
all
seen
good,
videos and pictures before,
and
right?
I'd seen videos and pictures, and but it lived up to all of that. You see all the Mr. Olympias. It's the most motivating gym you ever walk into. It's changed obviously a lot in the last.
Yeah,
it's changed probably a lot even since you were.
Yeah, of
probably
course,
first
yeah.
on it,
Changed a lot in the last 2 years.
It changed most rapidly in the last couple of years. I feel like it was probably consistent for a long time.
Well, you trained there for a long time. I mean,
Yeah, and
you
it's-
lived around the corner,
Yeah,
but when you walked into Gold's, where were you staying that time you first came? Do you remember?
Oh, yeah,
Like, were you training at Gold's every workout, or did you train at different
when I
gyms?
first came here, goodness.
Did you get
I
to
mean,
train
I
there
was-
several times,
yeah.
and did you get to meet anyone? Who was the first celebrity that you saw, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's so and so? Do you remember?
You
Really?
were the first ever celebrity to see
Really?
that. Yeah, 100%.
Wow.
Yeah, you were the one. Yeah, and then
It was
you
just
were the
lucky you
one,
were
mate.
there that day.
Well,
You
I
were
was
the one.
living there at part time.
Yeah,
still.
it was
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
because
Yeah.
it was Irv, and then he was like, he
Did
was
he-
telling me of
yeah.
people that would train there, whatever. But I think you were one of the very first. It's a shame.
Were people friendly to you though?
Asking for a photo, huh? Were people friendly?
Yeah.
of course. Yeah, they were really welcome. But honestly, for people as successful and awesome, and like for yourself with that much, mate, you're the coolest, Jay. I'm not going to try and blow smoke up your skirt, but
Yeah.
in terms of of when someone who doesn't, you've done a lot, you've achieved a lot,
Mm-hmm.
but you talked to me like, I don't know, like I felt like,
I remember calling Dave Worley and I said, "Man, this
I
kid
just
needs to be in movies."
you actually you pumped my sales up. You gave me a boost, and you gave me some really good, like lasting motivational words that resonated in my head, and it made a difference to me. And I look up to that. I respect that, and I admire that, and want to repeat that as another individual. So yeah, it's a good
awesome.
trait. Yep. But so you were one of the first, and
Did you approach Jay when you saw him?
I can't remember.
I don't remember how, but we remember we were just sitting and talking outside.
Okay.
You did a little thing with him. I set it up, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I said, you have to find this kid. He's the next star.
There you go. Yeah. Dave's awesome. He's cool. And he did an interview. And I've probably got the article in my mum's, at mum's place somewhere because I would have kept it.
So
sure.
you like the mindset, I have to, what was America like in your mind? Were you totally convinced you had to be here after that trip and visiting Florida and wrestling and all this
Yeah.
other stuff?
Yeah.
Like what?
That's a good question.
How did you end up back in California?
Yep, that's a good question. So obviously, well, it's funny, there's another part of my life that not many people know about. I skipped out, but I'll touch on that right now. When I was 19, I actually came to the USA on a B1, B2 visa to work at a summer camp in Maine, the state of Maine.
I used to live next door to Maine. I was in Massachusetts.
Well,
So
there
yeah,
you go.
yeah,
So
yeah.
my first ever place I've ever been was actually Maine. Dropped in the middle of Maine, did a summer camp for like fat kids and shit. I was a fitness coach.
Yeah.
Getting them in shape, whatever. And then, so I got these little porkies into shape over summer. And then I went and I caught a bus from the Greyhound?
Yeah, Greyhound bus, yeah.
Bus stopping.
Yeah.
I didn't have enough money to buy a plane ticket. Actually, I didn't even have a credit card or debit card. I don't even know how I got there.
Too young, probably, yeah.
Yeah. And I got a bus ticket from Maine to LA.
Oh my God.
Seven days on a bus. I'll never step on a bus again if I. Oh my gosh!
Just think about this.
it was
His first
rough.
time to America, he gets dropped in Maine with a bunch of fat kids.
Yeah.
That doesn't even sound. It sounds like something in a movie for real.
Yeah, it was. Oh, the bus shit was 10 times better. But then 7 days on this bus was way more adventurous than.
What did you eat on the bus for 7 days, Cal?
Gosh, yeah, gas station food.
Really?
Gas station food, mate. I don't know how I survived, but yeah, my guts as rough as dogs' guts, I guess now. But it was 7 days. I had a fucking discovery pass. I'm like, with bus, the bus guy goes, "Where are you going?" I was, "I want to go to California, like Gold's Gym and shit, right?" So
So you got to go to Gold's.
yeah, but I
then.
met some interesting guys. I met fucking Raphael, who's a truckie. His truck broke down in Chicago. Met him. Met Luis, some Croatian dude who taught me how to like play some card games. Met some other guy who got dropped off in Vegas, who was a UFC fighter. Looked like a criminal. Looked like he'd been in jail about 6 times. But anyway, he was friendly enough. Met some of the dude who just got out of jail. He's like, just got out of jail. So met all sorts of citizens of society, all sorts of interesting people. Anyway, ended up, so this truckie, Raphael, this Costa Rican fella, I ended up, he's like, "Where are you going?" I was like, "Oh, California, Hollywood. Like, I'm going to go check out, I don't know, Michael Jackson or whatever."
Yeah.
Actually, no, I think he just passed away then, actually. Yeah, God rest his soul. But anyway, so ended up at Raphael, this truck driver's house, living with him and his wife and 2 little kids in the middle of Inglewood for like 2 weeks. And he actually took me, he's like, "Hey, you want to," and I was like, "Raphael, I want to stay here. I want to live here. I don't want to go back to Australia. Like, I want to get a job." He's like, he took me down to Santa Monica, and I was like, "Do you reckon I could be a lifeguard?" I was a lifeguard back in Australia.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, took me to Santa Monica, talked to the lifeguard. I was like, he's like, you know, with his little fucking buoy thing, looking at the water. I was like, "Hey mate, how's he going?" He's like, "Yeah, good." I was like, "Oh, you lifeguarding?" He's like, "Yeah." I said, "I'm a lifeguard too." He's like, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, from Australia." I said, "I'm looking for a job. Do you guys, you gonna need an extra lifeguard?" He's like, "Actually, the head lifeguard's coming in now on a boat. I'll send you out to him." Fucking swam out, almost drowned because I'm not like a very good swimmer.
Yeah.
I'm not even a lifeguard. I told him I was. Swam out to the boat, jumped on the boat, and I was like, "Hey, you know, I'm looking for a job, yada, yada, yada." He's like, "Yeah, look, come talk to us." He ended up doing some rescue, some drowning bodyboarders or something, took him out of the rip from the marina, went back to shore, and I was like, telling Raphael, I was like, "Man, I want to live out." He's like, "Callum, have you got a," so I don't have a visa, don't have a green card, I'm not a citizen. He's like, "Callum, you got to go back to Australia, and you got to get an education or get a degree or get a visa to come out here because I don't want you to get deported." So he was the voice of reason in my head. So anyway, went back home. So that was the very first time. But then to answer your question, which was what made you come back out here? Yeah, so that was the first introduction to the States. Obviously, I loved it.
You must have got a lot of great feedback when you came, though.
The second time when I met you,
Yeah.
amazing feedback, and that was all I needed. Like I had just, I mean, hearing from you, hearing from obviously Irvin Gelb, the photographers, all of those connections, those interactions was like, wow, this is a huge world. There's so much more out there than
Potentially,
what's in my
yeah.
backyard, what's in your backyard. Remember what you
Yeah.
grew up with, and you remember where you come from, and then you see, you have these experiences, these like life-changing little moments, and you go, well, and then you start exploring your own potential and what you could possibly do. So it's great growth for for your mind and everything. And for me, I just felt like I never wanted to be ordinary. I never wanted to do what all the other kids are doing.
always say.
I didn't want to be a fucking brickie or a sparky or a plumber or, or go to university. I didn't want to do these things. I really didn't really know what my thing was, but I had a passion in the weights. I loved that feeling. I loved all of that. So I believed in myself enough to say, hey, bodybuilding or the fitness industry, which is, it started off as bodybuilding for you as well, I'm sure. What got you into it wasn't even the fitness industry.
Yeah, I want to be the best bodybuilder.
Exactly. You want to be a champion.
But you had an opportunity with social media.
And then that got blended in. Yep, exactly.
But my biggest fear was being normal. I never wanted, that was why I didn't want to stay with the family business or be a police officer once I went to school for that. It was like, man, I want to do something that's, like you said, different. You
want to challenge. You want to see what you can do. You want to see what you can take your physical capabilities or your mental capabilities, or you want to test yourself. You want to be something. You want to be remembered. Or you want to be known for something. Or you want to see whether it be. And
it seems like you don't have fear though, bro. Like you've always been known as kind of a daredevil, and you just don't have were you scared to?
I wasn't.
Give it all
I
up?
wasn't afraid. I had a lot of courage and belief in myself, and I didn't have a lot of fear. in terms of like the world or getting challenged with the world. But I've been caught out for it a few times, not having a healthy fear or being just too confident or overconfident. So I've developed more of a healthy fear today. So, which is probably going to help me in the long run.
You moved to the States though. Like, do you remember how much money you had at the time?
Probably $2,000. Yeah, no more than that.
That's a little scary.
Yeah, I had nothing.
Especially,
so I would come out here, but I had landed two deals. A clothing one.
Okay, and getting paid.
Yeah, it was like $1,000 a month from one.
Okay.
And then I got a supplement deal.
So you were like getting some guaranteed revenue.
$2,000 a month.
And what was the first apartment rental that you got? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was Whitley Ave in Hollywood. And I think it was like $1,400 a month. Tiny little shoe.
That was probably a shock to you though, coming from where you come from.
My
right?
goodness. It was tiny. I don't know. It was like kitchen, bedroom, and there's like a dining room. It was like
efficiency.
Tiny.
But you probably didn't care because you were in LA.
I didn't care. I was in this brand new, exciting, crazy city and knew nothing about it. It was a bit of a huge culture shock.
Yeah.
I was like, gosh, I got to drive on this side of the road and set everything up, you know, like just set yourself up in a new city or a new country. That's hard enough as it is. So, but I adapted really quickly. My first gym, one of the first gyms I went to, which was around the corner, was the Equinox gym in West Hollywood. It was a bit of a funky gym. But it was a good place to start. And then from there, I think it was, straight out of Gold's Gym. And then eventually I moved down to Santa Monica with Karina. And then we trained at Gold's Gym and we found a little community there. You started meeting the trainers, the regulars, the locals, you know. And so after a while, we got, huge, met Eric. I remember seeing him for the first time at Gold's and met a lot of awesome, wonderful people there.
But you were doing social at this time. So social media started to really come around. You started at your Instagram, your YouTube. And do you remember the first YouTube you put on your channel?
Oh, goodness me.
Just you training or what was it?
Yeah, it was probably like some little 15-second clip of me doing a bicep curl probably, like from my potato phone. But it was otherwise, apart from that, I think I started doing, just sharing like strong liftwear clips and just bits of training. It was just training.
And you realized you could monetize that?
Yeah, well, after seeing how well the video,
the reel they put together.
Yeah, exactly. And then I learned that you could monetize it and things. I do wish I had have gotten more into it and better at it. And
were you doing your own editing at this point, or were you having someone doing it?
I don't know. I'm not too savvy with the editing of YouTube videos and all of that. Not the
and we didn't have the good phones to even shoot the stuff back then, right?
Like little Nikon cameras or shitty phones. Yeah. Exactly. It was not as many resources. So I put more attention into like social media, being Instagram and Facebook at the start, and Snapchat. Yeah. But So hey, I've got a quick question for you. Just asking for a friend. What year was do you think was your best? Probably
01 or 09.
01, 09, yeah.
So 09 I came back, 01. We argue this all the time. Everyone's opinions.
01.
I think 01.
I was more streamlined then. I was young.
Yeah.
The muscle had a different look.
Yeah.
The prime age for bodybuilding, I feel, is still around 30.
Yeah.
Like that's 30. Where you start really coming into your own.
Yeah.
And I won my first Olympia at 33.
33.
That was your age, John.
Yeah. Were you back then, were you like, to eat all your food, to get your food down? Because
it was impossible.
I
force fed every meal.
Did you ever like smoke to get like the appetite?
I didn't, then I know it's so popular now for guys to do that, but to be honest, we just wanted it, man. Like
mental.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Yep. Just hungry for it. And it doesn't matter when you're that determined. It's like you're in the trenches.
The problem with me, if I smoke, I get really dumb, right? And I can't think. So I don't enjoy that.
Yeah,
I'd rather be alert and be on. So that's why I'm not really a big smoker in that sense.
Yeah, maybe to sleep or knock off. Yeah, but
yeah,
because I've had friends who have smoked, and it's like just to help with their appetite, like food and their sleeping and stuff.
It's the
like
biggest
that.
obstacle I feel a bodybuilder has to go through, though, right?
Eating, how to get it down.
Like, to put on the 30 you just put on?
Honestly,
do you feel like the eating had to increase a lot?
It had to, yeah. And look, I won't lie. Like last year, I wasn't eating a lot. I was having like 1 or 2 meals a day. So for me to just, and I wasn't really training. So last year I was just.
Talk about your dark times a little bit, because there was a lot of
all right.
there was a lot of negativity around. You know, you went back to Australia. You know, your dream in California kind of subsided a little bit.
Yeah.
And obviously, you went through some losses. You went through some mind-altering
I had a
decisions.
rough patch in 22. That's when I was just like, and mate, I wasn't doing well with my mental health. I was, had a problem with drugs, a little bit with not really alcohol. It was just more drugs, it was a rough year, 22. Got in a lot of trouble that year. First with the law, got arrested. Just stuff I'm ashamed of, not proud of. It's but I made these mistakes but yeah, it was. But I didn't even know.
Was the pressure, Cal? Was it the pressure that got to you, or was it situational? Meaning, do you have demons where it just?
I don't. It's really hard to pinpoint, and I've asked myself that a lot. What put me down this road, right? And how
was
did
it people you hung out with? I mean,
it's going to be a combination of things, and I think for sure it's going to be the environment and the people, 100%. I mean, if I'm around, it's like birds of a feather flock together. You sleep with dogs, you're going to get fleas, So you want to be around higher, leveled people to get yourself there. And I wasn't surrounding myself with, I was hanging out with delinquents for a little while, and undesirables, and that got me sucked into their shit. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I was there for a bit of a fun time, and then I'm getting dragged into their world and their arena and their drama and their darkness and their shit. So it was just a slow and then steady inclination like that. Obviously drugs get involved and it doesn't help, and you end up doing things you're not even aware of. You're in a different reality. And it's really scary when you're in that dark place or you're doing these things and you don't even realize it. That's the scariest thing. And it became a problem. At the start it was fun. It was just a little bit of casual fun once in a while, and it became a little bit more frequent, and then it just got, out of control. So I went through that phase.
Was there a certain point that you realized, hey, I'm fucking up? Like, was there a moment that you remember where it clicked that you didn't make a change?
I'm a bit of a slow learner sometimes, and there's probably like 3 of them. The first one, I didn't get, I was like a little slap. I didn't get, the message. Second one, still didn't get the message. And it was the third one where I almost had an NDE, had a near-death experience. And that was like, you got to make a decision.
Did the days just run together during that time, Cal? Like, did you have moments of clarity where you wake up and you were okay and you said, I need help?
Yeah. No, I was actually, it wasn't until this one
incident.
You know what? Like the first one, the first one I had a bit of I was like, hang on, this is out of my character. What am I doing here? Like, okay, you're going to have to handle it, like simmer down, So I simmered it down and was all right for a while, and I had good days. I had good days, of course. I was having fun, and then, I made another mistake. I got arrested again, and I was like, shit, why am I getting in this trouble for? Or I wake up, and then I'd be all right for a bit. But it wasn't until one incident that, I just fucking, I don't know. Yeah, I had it was like an episode, like drug psychosis. I was just in a different reality, and that's when I fell through the window. And I still don't know how that even, I don't remember it.
Don't remember anything.
Yeah, I just remember, that was that was the moment I woke up out of a coma in hospital with a broken back. And
well, the news was they weren't sure of survival. Like that's what
we saw.
And I mean, I reached out to you, and there was like no response at the time.
I didn't even know how serious it was. I didn't even it's crazy because I was waking up and I was thinking I didn't know how serious the accident was. I thought I'd just literally just woken up from a bender or something. And then I realized I'm in hospital, I'm strapped down.
You're talking about maybe paralyzed.
Yeah, they're talking about hey, we're not sure if you're going to walk again. and I was like going in and out of consciousness, and I was like, all right, that's pretty serious. Like, you know, I'm thinking my dad's quadriplegic. What the fuck have I done here? Like, that's mega. You know, doctor came up, he goes, all right, can you do this, do that, do this? Yeah, you will be able to walk again, but it's going to take some time. So, you know, I'm looking down and I've got bloody scars and fucking stitched up everywhere and holes in me and stuff. And that's what I was thinking, like, all right, this is going to, you know, I've had serious injuries. I've torn my quad, I've torn my bicep. And I remember those things. I'm thinking, oh, yeah, 6 months healing time for that one, and, you know, 10 months for the quad. Looking at myself, trying to do, like, you know, a self-assessment, how long I'm going to be before I'm back on the saddle from this one. Mm-hmm. But as it turns out, it was quite serious. I ended up having like titanium plates and bars in my spine or something. I've got 2 shattered vertebrae, and I've still got, like, you know, numbness and problems with this arm as well. So I realised, yeah, the recovery it wasn't going to be complete. You know, wasn't going to be the same. And but by this time, you know, I was copying a hiding online, you know, from a lot of different news outlets and tabloids and social media and people, that sort of stuff. So I was just like, get me the fuck out of here.
You were aware, though, of what was being said, and
I wasn't really at the start. I tried to not look. I didn't want to look. I didn't want to know. And then I saw, like, oh, they're twisting a lot of this stuff, or they're making, like, I'm looking at things and then they're pulling this, and I was like, this is gonna, if I keep looking at this stuff, it's gonna eat me from the inside. Mm-hmm. It's all negative. And I was like, I want to disappear. And I had to go away and kind of really look at and making it like a
reevaluate.
Yeah,
everything.
Reevaluate and talk and have some time to reevaluate and redefine myself and see, look inside and see what's going on. Like, I need some help. I've been doing this by myself for 32 years. You know, I haven't, you know, I guess I had a break. Well, I don't know what you call it, but like, yeah, just fucking, the volcano blew up. I went through the, you know, I just had a.
They call that rock bottom.
Rock bottom. Yeah, I just hit it, absolutely. And it was from that moment that it was kind of, I wasn't sure if I was wanted to come back on social media, pursue bodybuilding. I thought maybe that's it. Maybe that's a sign that I've got to just look at simple life, quiet somewhere, you know, just do something ordinary.
You were such you had such a dynamic about you, right? And I look back and I say, you know, the bicep tear with Bumstead, right? Curling the 315.
Yep.
Like, though that moment, then you know, you're doing the rock climbing or whatever you're doing, and you tear your bicep again and you tear the quad. Does all that stuff, like, everyone's asking the question, why, Cal? Why are you doing this when you're trying, when you have all this potential?
Thrill seeker.
That's what I mean. And you know, you talk about your dad being you know, he's in a wheelchair, right?
Yeah.
What's you had no fear on a motorcycle, Cal.
Yeah, that's how my dad had his accident too. So, which was,
and people used to be like,
and that's the thing. It wasn't even his fault. Like, someone had pulled out in front of him, and it doesn't matter. Like, he's still putting himself in that, you know, in that danger. So it doesn't matter if you're the best rider in the world. All it takes is one little mishap, and your career's over.
That's, and I should have. My dad got killed on a motorcycle.
Oh shit!
At a red light.
Yeah,
hit by someone just sitting there.
Really?
It's not about how good you are. It's the other people out there that you don't.
Exactly.
But you were a machine on that bike. Like, you just tore up and down the California freeways. Like,
yeah, I had a bit of a.
I mean, you were burning out everywhere.
Yeah, I was doing all sorts of skits and shit. Hey, that's just a bit of the Aussie spirit inside of me. You got to burn rubber when you.
But your fans loved it.
Yeah, because who doesn't have a burnout? You see someone do a skid, do a burnout, dickhead.
But like, don't you think that led to more of the daredevil because you were applauded online? Do you think that's the bad thing about social media, though?
I mean, you're gonna have people saying you're a dickhead, and you got other people saying you're a sick cunt, you're a legend. Like you got both there. At the end of the day, I just do it just because it feels good. It feels good inside here. It smells good. It looks good.
But like
do it.
you going back home, are you gonna do burnouts like still or?
Of course.
What kind of question?
Okay,
What kind of question's that?
Are you still
No,
on a?
Jay, of
are you,
course not.
Yeah, are
I've
you
grown
on a
up.
motorcycle now, or
No, I haven't.
you have your bike still, right?
Yeah, I've still got them. Still got them. They're in the shed there.
Yeah.
So, but they're in storage. I haven't
Retired for the moment.
They're having a little hiatus. Yeah, I'm giving them a rest. Yeah, they need to give me a rest. I'm giving them a rest. So
I think we need to put you on a bike so you can do a
No,
burnout.
I
Do a
stopped.
burnout.
I stopped. I had Harleys. I had a Ducati.
Do a
Skinny
burnout.
pig, man.
You guys need to do a burnout.
I really
together.
wanted to buy your dirt bike.
Oh, the dirt bike.
I called you about it.
Yeah,
Remember?
Yeah, the KTM.
Yeah,
the
I called you about it.
Yeah. Do you ride dirt bikes?
No, I used to ride. I have ATVs at my house, but I don't ride them. I'm the same way. I'm like you. I'm just kind of nervous to get back on. Is there a sense of like?
Yeah. Like
Is there a clarity of like, hey, maybe this isn't what I want to do right now?
I haven't got I feel like I had to get it out of the system a little bit. Like, when you're a boy, you just love thrashing your toys.
Yeah.
I kind of just had to get stuff out of my system a little bit. And it wasn't like anything bad. It was like a curiosity. I think I had a bit of I'd see my friends do this, but now it's like, no, I don't, I don't feel that as much anymore. I'm a lot more aware with okay, I'm not a kid anymore as much as I'd love to be doing, but it's just not as, I'm not.
It's not as exciting for
It's
you.
exciting. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
What are you finding to do with your time now, though? Your new self now. I mean, the gym obviously has become a love for you again.
Yeah. I mean,
Is that giving you a sense of relief?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I don't feel myself when I haven't worked out. And that's like when we spoke that last time, like I wasn't feeling myself at all. And I had lost, honestly, I will say, like having injuries and having, a little bit of a different look to the complete, uninjured look, it was demotivating. I'd see that and I'd be like, it's never going to look like that before, is it? It's not going to look like your past picture. So I kind of lost a lot of kind of, a bit of like that motivation and that excitement because I knew it would never be like that. But I got it back. So I've accepted everything. And I probably just had to process it, and it took a little bit longer to come to terms with, what's been going on and where I'm at. But once, accept that, I can go to the gym, and it's not about, trying to be, looking like this for Mr. Universe anymore. It's more about just going there to get the pump, to be disconnected from everything else that's going on in my day. I can go there, work on myself, get a filthy pump.
Dirty filthy.
Are you liking the social media aspect again? Are you working your way back?
Oh, it's interesting. I took almost a year off it, and it changed so fast. I came back on. I'm like, I hadn't been on TikTok or anything, and I'm looking at all these new reels and all this sort of stuff. So I was a little bit like, ooh, it's evolved again since I've been kind of connected. But I'm happy to be back now, and it's fun, and it's I think it's definitely, I look at it now how I used to. It's obvious to change too. It's not like before it was like kind of having fun and just bodybuilding, and then it turned into like kind of a business, and now it's your brand and now it's your profile. But it's a great way to stay connected, with the fans and the followers.
How has the response been from your supporters that were there before, with you having a hiatus and now coming back? Are they applauding you?
Yeah, it's been fantastic. Like I've looked at, some of the feedback, and a lot of it's like, he's back, he's coming back, he's doing great, we missed you, we want you. Yeah, it's been all positive, which is, which for me means a lot, and it's uplifting, and it helps, keep me going a little bit. It gives me motivation to be like, hey, you know what? I've got these people who have all had my back, and they still believe in me. And just because I didn't believe in myself doesn't mean there aren't people out there that do believe for you. So that's a nice feeling, and but ultimately, it does have to come within. You do have to motivate yourself, I think.
Well, I mean, you've got millions of people you motivate. I remember seeing you at events and the lineup of people. And, what I really love about you is, like, you were in a different place, Cal, and you took the time. You came to see me at one of the expos a couple of years ago. And I remember you snuck in, and I know you didn't want to be there because it was amidst of all this.
Yeah,
and you came over to say hello, and
Yeah.
You know, and I think people were kind of surprised, and some people don't know what to say, right? Like in those moments, and you know, you had your brother, the loss of your brother, and how has that affected you? I mean, that was probably really tough for you, right? Because I know he was part of. I mean, we used to see him on social.
Yeah,
right?
man. He was that was rock bottom. That was for me. His passing,
The lowest point.
He's the lowest point that I'll ever feel because I was closest to him. You know, I'd hit rock bottom when I had my own personal mishap in 22 with the injuries. I thought that was rock bottom. Well, I got it handed to me the following year, and it really affected me, Jay. I was very, very obviously shattered, heartbroken. It's.
And you weren't there at this time, right? You were in the US?
I was in the US. I was trying to patch my life. I was just trying to get reconnected on social media with brands and getting.
And you were back. You were back.
Just coming back. I just signed this contract. I just signed up with Bucked Up, and I just had signed up with Young LA. So I was just about to make this kind of re-entrance and say, hey, I've overcome my demons. I'm here to make get back into this. And I was just building up, and look, my little brother, he went through a really tough time, and I didn't know any of it. No one really knew. And I got a message from my mum the other day saying, she's just reminiscing, and she's like, talking about Eddie, and she's like, Callum, even when he was 17, he came to me and he said, hey, Mum, I feel like I'm different from everyone else, or something's wrong with me, I think he said. I said, Mum, I think there's something wrong with me. At 17 years old. And he passed away when he was 28 or 20, just turned 29. So he'd been battling bipolar behind closed doors for quite a number of years, which none of us had known about. And I learned of his condition about around COVID. And then I went back to kind of be closer to him because he was having some he was just going through some time, some tough thoughts, and kind of I think he was dealing with suicidal thoughts back then. So I went to be closer to him and just want to be near him, I was like, shit, I've sacrificed my family, my friends, my time. I've done a lot for myself. I've made everything, but my little brother is struggling, and I'm looking at me and all the stuff that I'm doing, and yada, yada, yada. I was like, no, I've got to be there for my family too. So I went back to be close to him, and we were all good. And then I went through,
to help your career a little bit.
Well, then I went through my stuff, and then he was fighting, he was having a lot of real difficult time with his minds, and so I came back to the States, came to the Arnold Classic, in Columbus, Ohio, and that's when I'd found out he went missing. And he was declared missing, and that whole weekend I had to see people, and I did a meet and greet, and this is the first expo I've been to in like 3 years. It's just after all the crap that I've been through, and my brother is missing, and no one knows where he is, and I've got to be on and just try and be there for the people that have looked up to me or come to see me, and that's tough.
Yeah,
that's a lot of mental, warfare going on. So that was hard, mate. And he passed. He threw himself over the cliff, 5 minutes from where we live. But he didn't want anyone to know anyway. So look, after that, I went through huge depression. I didn't want to. I would go to bed every night hoping I wouldn't wake up in the morning. Like I would start going into that darker place, darker than any. And I didn't resort to. Wasn't drugs. No drugs, no drink. I was completely sober. I'd become completely sober, and I didn't. And I didn't even turn to drugs or alcohol to even numb myself. I just was kind of trying to process this without doing anything. And I remember going to a doctor to get some antidepressants, and he's like, I told him I was, having suicide, been thinking about helping myself as well, and all this sort of stuff, and which is, kind of a little bit hard to talk about. I didn't really want to, but someone said I should, so I did. Anyway, I saw the doctor, and he's like, here, take these, antidepressants. Why don't you just go up to, you know, get on a dole and go and live in Queensland or something? I was like, live on a beach or something. I was like, you know, he's just give me some shit house answer. Anyway, went home, tried them for like a week, threw them away. And then, yeah, I ended up getting just more. I started thinking about, just checking out, and ended up, I came close at one point. I had another really close point where I just had a gun to my head. I'm like, fuck this, I'm done. I don't want to, it just hurt too much. I wanted to be with my brother. Mm-hmm. Every time I thought of Eddie, I just thought he was either struggling or suffering, or I also just, my mindset was I would trade the world just to be with him wherever he is. And yeah, I was like, you know what? Thinking back, I was like, I was pretty satisfied with what I'd done, and I had a pretty action-packed, 20s. I'm 33 years old, or 32 or 33 years old. I lived a pretty good life. Anyway, I didn't, obviously, still here, but it was tough, and I really wanted to give up, and I was ready. I lost complete hope. I saw you, and that was around June, and then October last year, I was just kind of drifting.
You were still, now that you bring this up, Cal, you were in depression when I saw you in October. We spent a little time together, and
yeah. But I would try and show I wasn't.
I know, but I could tell because it wasn't you, and I know, we connected. I gave you my number, and I said, listen, man, you got to come to Vegas, and and I've only watched like you come to a different level now, and there's so many people that are going to watch this, and we all have demons, right? To a certain point, but you being honest and you being open about it, there's so many people that battle that. And like, what if you could speak to all these people out there, like,
absolutely,
how do you get through it? I mean, because you don't know, like, it's just like, you go from your brother that you kind of knew, but then you didn't know, and like, I could have, should have, like, is that like, man, I really shouldn't have left, or like, is there all those questions in your head?
Get all those questions, coulda, shoulda, woulda, why? And you ask yourself over and over and over, and you start going crazy. Like, why could I have changed this? Should I have done this? Could I, and you can't think like that. You cannot, because there's nothing that could have changed. It doesn't matter. If you think like that, you're going to end up in that bad place. You got to cut those thoughts out. And it becomes a real test of your mental fitness. And so I was asking all these questions, like, and then you start because then you blame yourself, and you start looking and you're like, shit, is it my fault? Did I cause this? And that's terrible. You don't want, you start carrying that around on your conscience, you get heavier and heavier.
Well, until the point where you want to check yourself out.
Then, yes.
But that moment that you decided, no, I'm not going to do this, and then you start your rise, right, back.
Right. And that's when the growth really begins.
And listen, I would say, you getting back in the gym probably, it gave you a lot of good feeling back, right?
Memories.
Because that's your love, right?
Yeah.
Would you say that, like, bodybuilding, like, I know bodybuilding, we call it lifting weights, time in the gym, like, this is this is what you love,
it's
right?
It's my craft, it's my art, it's my passion. It really was. And like, I for a part, I did lose a bit of, because of these scars that I look at, I lost a little bit of that love, and I lost a little bit of that passion. I'm thinking, I'll never be as good as what I could have been. And it comes down to those thoughts, those negative thoughts, and I was allowing them in because I was just weak at that time, mentally weak. And but getting back in the gym rekindled that spirit. And I look back at the early days. I look at what got me started. I look at what made me who I am today, and what those ingredients were that built Callum today, and what helped shape me, at the beginning. I started, revisiting those memories and then putting them together. And then from there, just, I think it's, that's a huge combination. And you start believing in yourself, my confidence. And it's funny because I saw the health, the testing kit, the blood testing kit over there. I saw that, and that's it. And it reminded me that's a huge thing that I may as well bring it up. But having your bloods tested and your levels tested, and I think it would be a good opportunity for me to mention that being a professional bodybuilder and taking it to the limit and, using PEDs and testosterones and synthetics to, enhance, I obviously toyed with my hormones and my levels through my 20s. So and all through the last year, and I think partially the year before, I'd come off everything, off all drugs, off all testosterone, took nothing, just wanted to completely cleanse myself. And I was also thinking that, surely my natural levels will eventually come back. Not being schooled or educated on that, they didn't come back, and I became extremely depressed. And I think that is a huge factor in my depression, as well as what had happened with my brother, was having, I finally got a test done in December last year. My levels was 80.
It's like a 90-year-old man.
Right. Yeah, non-existent.
But you never went for blood work when you were
not
running,
really,
right?
Only when Eric would actually.
But you're coming over from Australia. Like, you probably don't have a doctor that know or any of that stuff, right?
All that was just focus on was just gym, eating, sleeping, and repeating.
Yeah.
Eat, sleep, gym, repeat.
But a lot of people do that. They don't want to know. They just say, you know what, I'll do it later. And
yeah, we don't, and that's what I think is important. People today, wherever they are in their fitness journeys, or if they've taken that route, really consider and really monitor your blood levels and particularly your testosterone and everything. Make sure that it's all healthy, because I didn't do that, and I paid a price for that. So I started TRT this year, at the start of this year, and that helped incredibly. With my motivation, with my energy, with my spirit, with my confidence, it all kind of returned. Testosterone came back. It's an essence of being a man. Is you got to have that energy and healthy hormones. So that's helped a lot too. And then just the combination of lifting weights and getting back those good feelings, looking at old magazines and old pictures. So.
I'm going to bring some up from the past. Yeah. One thing Jay's always said about you is you should be in Hollywood. But you actually got to play Arnold in a major motion picture. Talk to us about, how did that come about? How did they select you, and what was that like?
Yep. So that was Steve Jones. He's a producer, and he was looking for. So he'd gotten the permission from. There's a book called Brother Iron, Sister Steel. Oh no! Sorry, Iron. I don't know. It was a book about Joe Weider, and he got the rights to basically turn that book into
the story of Joe Weider. Yeah.
Yeah, and he was looking. I think I can't remember how I got the. Maybe it was an email or something. They reached out to me to play the role of a young Arnold, and I was like, well, this is what I was kind of born to do in a sense. Like, people had called this 5-6 years ago. They said, you got to play Arnold in a movie one time. And so, I remember went to Steve's place. Said, hey, and I've got no acting experience. I'm not an actor. I'm a stupid bodybuilder. No, I'm a bodybuilder, and I haven't done a lot of acting experience. Anyway, I pulled up to his house, had a meeting. He liked the physique, liked the look. Can you act? I said, yeah, of course I can act. I just need to work on it.
You got out of the military, you can act.
yeah, that's right. True. So anyway, I got I did it, and they said, we want you to play Arnold. We love the look, and I got on board with a voice acting coach, and that was right when we were filming, I think, Generation Iron 2 or something. Generation Iron.
It was that influencer thing.
Yeah, the influencer.
Yeah.
That's the one. So I just got done with that, and so and I ended up filming in Birmingham, Alabama. Alabama. Yeah, and they had
Chickarello.
Yeah.
He played Lou Ferrigno, right?
No, Sergio played his dad.
Was Lou Ferrigno in that? Who played Lou Ferrigno?
I don't know who played.
Oh, maybe it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. No, it was an older version.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was back in the day. Yeah, it was the original Sergio Arnold standoff. Louis wasn't.
But there was a lot of bodybuilders in it that current guys, like Sergio Lever was there.
He played his dad. Yeah. He's big boy. I was like, man, I'm gonna go get Sergio Oliver Jr. Pro Mr. New York, whatever. I was like, dang.
So
Probably coaching when his dad was
so
like
the
that.
speaking, like, can you bring it back right now? Like, can you talk like Arnold or?
Putting you on the spot.
You really are putting me on the spot. Well, like, no, get out of here, Jay.
So tell me,
it's not a podcast.
So tell me the lines, because did they make you do a lot of lines?
Yeah.
Huh?
No, they did, mate. They did, and they made me. I would try and do my version of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and they're like, no, this is how you got to learn to speak like Arnold, not like just like sound like him. You got to speak like him. And one of the main things was like, because Australians, we like to finish our sentence with like a high pitch, like, and it always sounds like a question, like, you had a good day, yeah? It's just like an Aussie thing. And he's like, well, Austrians, you got to start with a high and end like low, the bottom of your throat, not the top. I'm like, so you're like talking like, end up talking like this. So it's like, so I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to.
You're gonna go backwards,
like airplane taking on up and down. So it was backwards. It was a bit weird for me at the start, but I guess I kind
like
of
what were a couple of lines you had to say in the film? Because obviously you're competing, and I don't know what other. I never saw the movie. Believe it or not.
How about I break your jaw instead? Yeah,
that's what you
like
said.
One of the lines was like, I think some competitor's coach came up to me in the pump up room, like spitting. I think it was Sergio's coach or something. He's like talking shit on Weeder and his brother, on the Weeder brothers, and Arnold's standing there pumping up, and I go over and I'm like, he's like, I'm gonna wipe the floor with your guy, and I'm like, how about I break your jaw instead, like break your jaw or something. But he's always like, you gotta say like chaw, like chair, like chaw. I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know. They're telling me how to like pronounce it and say, but anyway, so that was it was fun. It was really fun, to be honest. Like I loved the whole kind of Kabat and Kaboom. Like you got little trailers, and you got to wear all these cool little old school outfits, and like.
Well, did you think like, hey, I'm heading to the next level now? Like, was that?
I thought
Did you think Jay Cutler was right? He told me I should be in Hollywood. And here I am.
Jay, I remember sitting there in my little booth. Jay Cutler was right. Shit, on my deathbed. Jay Cutler, Jay. Yeah, no, for sure, mate. I reckon. I think that would have been a huge. It was, I think, right around 2017 that it came out, or no, 2018 was a premiere, and yeah, I think I was like looking at it, and then I think, and then when COVID hit, that was just a big, like, obviously kicking the guts for everyone, and it just kind of like ruined everything. So I kind of gave up on the thought of becoming a
film star,
Hollywood actor or something during COVID. I was like, well, forget about that. So yeah.
So it's nothing on your bucket list now?
I haven't given it much thought. It's funny you said that. I actually got an audition from a cast just out of the blue like a few days ago, and I just sent it to Edwin. So, hey, mate, I
think it's still in your cards, but I know you're really focused on a lot of projects now and kind of using bodybuilding as a business. And I mean, is that the goal now?
I think it would be. I've thought about it. Like, hey, do I want to get into TV or entertainment, or where do I want to go? Do I want to focus on myself, my brand, my YouTube, or do I want to just go into mainstream, or where are we going with this? And at the moment, I think I'm just kind of going with the flow, like I'm making myself available and for kind of different interesting things that I want to do, especially like coming out to see you here. Like I want to, I want to break into these, different, I think, doing more podcasts, but it's not something I wouldn't turn my head down. If there was something there, I'd definitely look at it and consider it. At this moment, I'm just kind of like assessing everything and seeing what's going to be the next direction. I love training. I love, and I wouldn't mind it. Like, I've come to the conclusion and acceptance. Obviously, I'm like, there was, before I had any injuries, I was looking at the classic Olympia. I would have loved.
What do you think of classic physique, Callum? I mean, you started as looking at the IFBB, people like myself, Ronnie Coleman's, Phil Heath, those kind of people. But like when they introduced classic physique, and I mean, obviously Bumstead's like the lead guy.
Yep. I remember when they first introduced it, and I finally thought, yes, I've got a chance at being in Mr. Olympia. Because it was bodybuilding. Was it physique? Was it men's physique?
Yes, men's physique.
It was. It was those two. I was never going to do men's physique. I'm like, nope. Got to show the legs, quad stomp. Let's go.
Quad stomp. Yeah.
So I remember they were like, hey, we're bringing out this new class, and I thought, fantastic. This is at least something, because I like for your caliber, like for the heavyweights, the opens, like I knew straight away that is extreme dedication. That is taking it your body to the absolute limit, I think, and that's like the ultimate. And I was like, Tom, I could never be as big, jacked, or built, or as good as the guys in that division. Like I just don't think
because of the height, right?
yeah, surely. I think it's hot. Is that why?
And there's some tall guys. Andrew Jack is 6. You ever know who Andrew Jack is?
6'2".
Yeah, I remember the X-Man.
Yeah, he was
Tony Freeman.
Tony Freeman.
How tall was he?
He's about 6'1".
Yeah.
But
Gunther.
I remember when Classic was in. Yeah, he was taller. Yeah,
6'1".
But once again, it was hard to compete with us stockier guys, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But you were when they started Classic Physique, they're like, this is Callum's class. I remember you competed in Culver City in the amateurs,
that's right.
They made you do how many shows before they granted you status?
Yeah, I think it was to three shows.
They wanted you to do, but they were going to grant you status if you competed and won
both
a lot of shows, right?
Yeah.
Instead of going, and then you end up going for your pro card, and you got it, correct?
Yeah.
So you weren't. A lot of out-of-country people, they're grandfathered based on X amount of wins.
Right.
And that division was so new. So I remember you talked about coming out and doing the Cutler Classic at one point as one of your prep shows.
Yeah, that's right.
And then eventually you went and you got your status at the Universe and actually earned it.
COVID as well.
Yes. Well, they moved it to South Carolina because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
It's normally a New York show.
Your show? You mean the Cutler Classic?
Yeah, it was here in Vegas, but you were going to come do it.
Yeah.
And
that was going to be my
I was kind of excited because it would have been a huge publicity for the show at that point because you were so popular. What
about we doing? Are you still doing Cutler Classic?
Yeah, but we need a pro division. You're a pro now, so we can't.
Maybe
am I still a pro?
Yeah, of course you are.
I haven't competed in 4 years.
Doesn't matter.
You're still a pro.
All right, cool.
Maybe you need to have a pro. Classic division can make your comeback.
Well, even if so you just got amateur. You haven't.
Yeah, it's just amateur. Yeah.
Well, if you bring pro back, I'll be your first guest.
Yeah, good man.
Well, now you just got put on the spot.
I could even. Well, I mean, guest post. I could always come and guest post, but I wouldn't mind.
I would love you to guest post.
Yeah.
When you're ready to get back on stage and show the goods again, you know.
Yeah.
When's the next show here?
Filthy posing routine.
Which one?
Filthy posing routine.
When's the next show in Vegas?
Posing routine.
April next year.
April next year is going to be next one.
Yeah. So you got about a year. See how swole you can get.
So how? So you just did a tour of Australia and like you're starting to get on the circuit again. How does that feel?
It's nice
to be in front of the fans and
it's good. You know, and it's interesting because at the very start it's like, and you probably know this too. The very first time you meet him, it's just like hello, photo. Nice to meet you, bye-bye, Now, sometimes you'll have a chat with them, or you talk, or they've really and you find out different people who have subscribed to your life and followed your story, and they give you gifts, or they tell you about this time, or they recognise this. So it's nice, and you go around on the circuit, and you've obviously, and I've got to say, I think, Jay, you have to be the one person who's given back, like put out the most return for the fans and your followers. Like,
Ronnie and myself. We've been all over the world. Yeah,
they still do more appearances than anyone.
That,
how do you feel though when someone's wearing like your original tank top that you put out with it has the big Von Moger,
or koala or something?
Yeah, how do you feel when those people come up to you and say, "You've been following me since the beginning"? Like that's crazy, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's a great feeling.
I still see them all over the place. I train at a super private gym, and the guy always wears your merch.
Does he? Yeah.
Yes.
What is he? I've got to fucking get some fresh. I've got to get him some fresh.
Do a retro relaunch.
Yeah, get him. No,
he's still. But you're launching a bunch of new merch now.
Yeah, get back on board with it more and more. Obviously, I did doing a lot with Young LA as well, but But I want to do some more. Yeah, just do some. The filthy relaunch, the vintage relaunch. You know what I mean? But it's good connecting. I love getting back on the circuit. It's obviously, I look at now. I've kind of done this kind of a 360 in a sense of like gone through different this and I've experienced that and seen that, and it's like now I'm coming back and I'm seeing you and seeing different people in industries and working with elevated, strong mindsets, motivated, successful individuals. It feels great, and I think that's where I want and meant to be right now, especially at my age. I think I've got a lot more to give and a lot more to learn and a lot more to achieve.
Isn't it amazing, though, like you go to Mexico a few weeks ago and, like, all these fans come up to you from, like, a whole nother culture.
No.
I mean, going to Australia is like you did the tour of Australia, but like when you see
Go to
all
Mexico, a different country like that,
and you know, there's all
pretty
these
special. It's
like
these guys are like, hey man, I've like, you know, I had a letter from a girl. She'd written it like, you have a big place in my heart. I'm a big fan. I watched all your videos. Da, 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 da. I'm like, well, this is like, it's really sweet. I mean, I look at this. I'm like, wow, I've impacted you. I've changed. You know, I've motivated you. I've helped you in some form or a way of another. You've been impacted by the things that I've done. I don't know you from a bar, so I've never seen you live before, but the reaction that I'm getting from you right now is to say that I've done something quite miraculous in your life, and that's a beautiful feeling. I think that's, you know, it's really that makes
it's amazing, right?
It makes it all worth the while. You know, when you go around that, you're like, hey, that's the kind of feedback that is so positive and beautiful that it's going to keep you going. You know, and
so you come home, you train harder, and that must give you a lot of positive energy around you. And now surrounding yourself with, you know, you weeded out the bad situations, right?
Had to chop out the weeds, had to clean up the edges, and, you know, and sort out, you know, I had to sort out my garden, clean out, you know, give it a bit of a maintenance and go through it. And now it's like, hey, I can sow and reap beautiful fruits, and I can learn and cultivate with other people. And it's you know, I think that's what really, you know, makes you stand apart from the rest, and gives you great opportunities to travel and experience. You know,
how is your family accepting, like, now? Is they know that you're in a good place? And
they were worried for a while. They were worried.
I know you spend a lot of time with your sister too. She's come over to I met her before. Yeah,
love her. And my little niece now, Rani, she's got a daughter, and her husband Tom. They've been wonderful. They've been and that's the thing. Like, when you're going through like any kind of like depression, anxiety and stuff, and when you have family or people like that can really step up and be there and talk to, sometimes all you just need to be just around your family or your tribe, your people. So yeah, she's awesome, mate. Thanks.
I love to see the content over there when you go back home, and I would see all the you know, the little farm, and I like to see I like to see all that, because it reminds me a lot of how I grew up. I mean, people would be shocked if they saw, like, Ed Connors. You know Ed Connors, right? He came to my house when I was a teenager, and I remember, I'll never forget. So he pulled down, and I lived like almost a mile off the street. You know, we had a ton of property. Yeah. And I remember he came, and he got out of the car, and all the chickens were running at him and everything, you know, because they get vicious sometimes, right? So, and we had guinea hens. I don't even know if you know what a guinea hen is. So the African little they're like very kind of, they go at you pretty hard, right? They'll bite, right?
You gotta kick 'em.
And we had geese, we had everything, right?
Geese are crazy.
So they were running around his cars, and I remember he left, and he says, I need to get you out of here. That's what he said to me. I'll never forget it when I was a teenager. He would have just said, like, oh my gosh,
we need this guy. You need to be in movies, Jay. You need to be in movies. He probably was thinking the same thing.
He was actually, I was a future Mr. Olympia, right?
He saw it straight off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, everyone said the same thing. And back then, there was contracts, and Joe Weider took me under his wing. And
so let me ask you a question. Who was the most influential people for you and helpful people in that, like, okay, like, are there a few key names that you would say?
Yeah, so many. I had obviously my family first, you know, my brothers who kind of raised me, my father, my mother, you know, my sisters, everyone.
How many siblings do you have?
I have 3 brothers, 3 sisters. I'm the youngest of 7.
Oh, dang. So I'm one of 6, you're one of 7.
Yeah, so they were the first initial. I had a mentor named Bruce Vartanian, who was my business mentor. He kind of took me under his wing. Yeah. Irv Gell was the first photographer that shot me. He came out and stayed with me in Massachusetts.
How did he find you?
Ed Connors told him.
Okay, yep.
Chris Aceto.
How did anyone? So where they find you? Just like he just want you.
Chris Aceto was my trainer. You know who Chris Aceto is? He lived in Maine.
Right. Oh,
and I used to drive to see Chris, and Chris took me under his wing and coached me. Yep. So he introduced me to Ed Connors. You know, I mean, there were all these people. Joe Weider. Yeah. He was a huge mentor to me. Obviously the people that I surrounded myself with, like all those people, my ex-wife who was, you know, we were teenagers together.
Really?
And then we got married. I mean, we were together 38 years.
Married young weed. You married at the start.
I got married at 24, but
24 years
we
old,
started dating at 16.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
And I remember laying in bed with her at night and saying, you know, someday I'm going to be great at this. Yeah. And her being like, I believe you, you
Yeah,
know?
wow, that's what you want.
And
when
still
you
to
have a
this day, I
partner.
mean, obviously we're divorced, but we have a great relationship, you
Yeah.
know? So
Awesome.
that was the early people.
She played a huge role. You played a huge role
because
in each other's lives.
I told her
for that
straight up,
chapter
you
of
got to
life,
come to
know?
the, if you want to see me, you're going to have to come to the gym. So she started training around me. She became one of my best workout
Just your
partners.
devoted, she supported you, believed in you. Yeah, that's
You always need someone.
You
I
have
mean,
to.
that's
it
super
makes
supportive. It's like, you know, like your friend Miggy, right?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
been your friend all
Yeah.
along, right? And he hasn't changed up, right?
Yep. No,
You
he's
need those
consistent,
people,
steady.
no matter
And
what.
They're there through you through thick
Yeah.
and thin. You know, when the going gets tough, they stick around. You know, and I remember Miggy, when I had my first major surgery, man, I didn't get just like everyone just kind of went quiet. Anyway, he was there coming to the house, bringing me chicken and rice and cooking me food and saying like, you know, I'd kind of like, I don't know what the heck's going to happen to me. I don't know what my future's like.
Yeah.
You know, all this, that was the first kind of spin, like, you know, problem I had. And he's like, no, you'll get through
You know, he
it.
used to work the booths for my events.
Yeah,
He used to sell shirts for me. So.
Sell your shirts
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff. Probably. Did he ever take your photos? You were shaky.
But he used to run. He used to run one of my social media platforms.
Accounts?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he ran my clothing platform for a while. Yeah,
Yeah. How did you meet? So what, through his brother, wasn't it?
yeah, through Corey. Yeah.
Corey. Yeah.
He was a fan, and you know they became
come and see ya.
helpful. But Miggy actually
That's
came and
awesome.
helped at all the expos, and
Miggy's off.
so it's kind of crazy that you
We
guys
got
FaceTime me in
Yeah.
Mexico the last couple weekends ago.
whenever we get
and-
to always like, how's Jay
Yeah,
going?
yeah.
You know, it's good. I love it. You know, those little like connections and friendships. I take them around everywhere I go. You know, it's like I cannot talk to you for however long, and then I say, hey Jay, what's going on? It's like the same. It's just good. Just
I know you sent me that video.
mentalities.
That meant
Good.
a lot to me a couple weeks ago. You
Oh,
sent
yeah.
this, and I'm coming up for the podcast. And
yeah,
it's
drop
awesome.
it. It's like, oh, I'll drop a message, Jay, and it's just like I look forward to catch up with my old friend. You know, yeah, it's good.
What else you want to ask him?
No, I was going to say you doing this, I know is going to help a lot of people because there's a lot of people that could be going through the same thing you did.
Yeah.
And sometimes people hearing someone else go through it can help them.
Yeah.
But, you know, I don't know you super well, but I would see you come at the LA Fit Expo and you'd show up and you'd have a hoodie on.
Yeah,
You were covered up. And this last time when we were at the Arnold, when I came to the Bucked Up booth, it was different.
Yeah.
You had the shorter shirt, the muscles were out,
Feeling
the
it
smile
a
was
little,
there, and
mate.
you're
Yeah.
like,
Yep.
Calum's back.
Yeah.
So you went through those dark times.
Absolutely.
But now you're back to where you were
Yeah.
before. Even though you might feel like you weren't there, but scars help.
The scars are there to
Yeah,
remind
yeah.
me, but I'm back, and I've overcome. You know, I had to overcome some, you know, fight a few hard battles and overcome
everyone
that.
does.
And exactly, and that's the thing. Like you said, there's, you know, I'm just one of millions of men and women who struggle daily, getting through the everyday, and sometimes you got to take a little bit of time off to redefine yourself, to heal yourself, and grow. And sometimes, like, you know, I think Jay was saying earlier, that disconnect, you know, where when he was training and stuff at the gym, there's no, you know, and when he tell people, hey, like, you know, talk to me, like, yada, no phones, you know, none of this, like, so it's super focused, and you need a disconnect, and I needed to disconnect from, you know, sometimes you need to disconnect from all of that to re-find yourself. Yeah.
Another person, shout out to Jeff over here.
Yeah.
Because he was the one, I remember him saying that they were bringing you on.
Yeah, big shout out to Jeff.
And he believed in you,
Huge,
and him and his
yeah,
brother,
him and
when other people
Ryan.
might not have given you a shot because of negativity. And they did. So
Mate,
shout out to
huge
Jeff.
props. I've got huge love for the Gardner brothers, the family and their business, because they took me on when perhaps, you know, a lot of people had doubts, or there had been a lot of bad news about me. They gave me a chance, and they said, hey, we believe in, you know, in giving people second chances, and we believe people, you know, we understand people make mistakes, but they had belief, and they had just that outlook. You know, it stands apart from they're not just a company or brand. They're like a huge family, beautiful people. So big shout out to Jeff and his brother Ryan.
Now he's blushing over here.
No, thank you. Who else you want to give a shout out to? Anyone else?
I mean, there's probably
You shout out a lot of people on here. But
no,
listen, man, we
know
thank
who
you
they are.
so much for coming on and spending a little time with us. And I'm sure we'll be doing it again. And I'm sure we'll be.
It was fun, mate. It was
doing
good.
some,
Easy,
right?
Thank you so much for having me on board, for believing in me. Big shout out to yourself and yourself, you know, and getting me out here. I really enjoyed talking, and I think it's great. And we'll look forward to coming out and kicking it again.
One thing from this, 11 months from now, he's guest posing at your show.
Oh, yeah, we're
going to hold you to this.
Determined quite a few things. Yeah, exactly. And are you getting a lift in tonight or tomorrow?
I'm sure we'll at some point. I lift 7 days a week.
Which
Cal.
gym are you training at here?
I train all over the place, you know.
You
Are
know
you
what?
guys staying close to the strip? Or?
We'll get you set up.
Oh,
there's-
we're at the Luxor. Yeah.
Oh, you're right
If
here,
you
then.
want to, if you're down to catch a lift,
Are you going to get a filthy pump on tonight, or show these guys how to do it? I got your.
Show me how to get a
You
filthy
came
Cutler
in. You came with
I
the
want
biggest
Portsmouth.
posse that anyone's ever come with here. I think.
pump. Really? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, entourage.
Yeah.
No.
All business. You
All
told me
business,
all
mate.
business, man.
Can't be swole all the time, man. You got to be some. Yeah, you got to have some business time as well, mate. Yeah.
These are your chaperones for Las Vegas.
Yeah, exactly.
You've had a lot
The
of trips to
security
Las
guys.
Vegas that you probably don't want to
Probably can't.
remember, right?
I think I forgot most of them, to be honest. There's a bit of a blurry line there. Some great times, some times that, Vegas, mate.
It's always been, this is the hotbed for fitness now. So
Yeah.
it's great to be here. But we appreciate you coming on. Thank you,
Thanks,
Bucked
mate.
Up, for, of course, setting it up. And shout out to everyone that's supporting you, all your fans
Yeah,
out there.
Huge shout out. Thanks, guys. Love you all.
You know, you're going to get so much feedback from this, and they'll look forward to seeing you face to face, hopefully, on the circuit here this year, man.
Guest posing at the Cutler Classic.
Hey, Well, I'd love to see you back on a stage, but we'll save that
One
for
step at
another
a time.
episode.
One step at a
Yeah,
time.
one step at a time.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks,
it, man.
mate. Cheers.